Hello, everybody. I hope you all are having a beautiful day. Just chilling with my little buddy Dracula. We spending some time hanging out. So, I just wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about why traditional reparations in the form of money won't really do any good to the African American community. And before you guys get on here and tell me how I'm a traitor and how not black I am, I just want you to hear me out. So, one of the biggest problems that I ran into when figuring a number, when thinking about what people would be owed, is just that I don't think you can come up with a rational or a logical number to take away from the atrocities and the massacres and the violence and the history and the institutions of America. I was debating with a man in these comments a while back on a video where the video was saying how black people deserve reparations. Well, one of the comments was black people are owed $127 trillion. I believe that's what number he used. Well, the problem with that is when you take into account how much money that is, you could print that much money, but you're going to basically go into inflation. What that means is the value of the dollar will basically be worthless when you print that much of it. It's like it's a financial institution. Just go look up inflation if you have trouble understanding what I mean. Think of it like this: how back in the early days, you could get like a pack of cigarettes, a meal, watch a movie, and do all these other things for 10 cents or a dime, get some gas or something. Now, in this day and age, that will cost you probably $100 to do all those things. That's because the value of that dime isn't as valuable as it was 100 years ago. So money is called inflation. The value of the money goes down over time as the goods increase and stuff like that. So what'll happen is if you print any type of amount of money like that for a group of people, the first thing that's going to happen is the money system is going to be destroyed. So I had some other ideas for reparations. These are just ideas, theories, connecting with people on the internet so that maybe we can come to a consensus. The irony is if more African Americans came out and spoke on these type of things rationally and logically without the heat and the fire and wanted to destroy somebody. I understand your anger, but you have to remember the anger is what takes you off of your rocker. You have to be of sound mind when talking about things like this. So another problem I ran into when thinking about reparations, as soon as we get any amount of money, two things are going to happen. First things that's going to happen is people are going to come out of the woodworks in fury. They're going to talk about the first thing you guys are going to hear is, okay, we paid you, so you can't complain about it anymore. We paid you, so what's the point of bringing it up anymore? We paid you, so we paid you, we paid you, we paid you. The most infuriating thing I can hear a person tell me after I know what happened in American history is that you paid me. Because first of all, you never did pay African Americans for the tyranny and the troubles that they went through. And that's why we're in the problem that we're in today. Because now the spirit or the fire of the tyranny that happened is infuriating. And so people want full recompense. So that's the first problem. People are going to be chucking that in people's faces. We paid you, so you don't got no right to be mad, or racism isn't real anymore. Or da, da, da. Here's another thing. There are a lot of poor and homeless people and people that are in the gutter right now. I'm talking middle class, then went to lower class at this point. There's a lot of poor people out there, especially when you guys think of poor and crime and stuff like that. You guys probably predominantly think of people of color, immigrants, and black people. And there are all types of troubled spots in America that are fully Caucasian, not a immigrant or person of color in sight, but you don't see things like that. You don't hear things like that. It's not major news. It's not what sells. See, when they say America's carried on the backs of blacks, think about it. What does Fox News and the Republicans do? Black, 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 crime, 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 infrastructure, infrastructure, immigrant. Then what does the left do? We're helping black, 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 black. We're healing black. It's all about color. You see what I'm saying? Whether what side you're on, you guys say, why do we make it about race? It's always about race, no matter what side you're on. It's two sides of the same coin. So the problem is that all these poor people and people who are in the dust, especially white nationalists that are down in the South, in Texas and Florida and Tennessee and Mississippi, that are good old, real racist. They don't come in contact with black people because they're not around black people. They only get the news and word of mouth. So you pay black people all this money to lift us up, and you thought people were racist before. What you're going to have is a war. I'm telling you, I'm not telling people to war. I'm not saying that this is what I wish for. What I'm telling you all is, with the current state of the fiery political storm that Trump and a lot of other racists create. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call Trump a racist, because that's another thing that happens in America. Racism is very real, and African Americans are definitely segregated, divided, and tossed aside in this society. I'll give you an example. You just pay attention to basic interactions, the way the police deal with us, the way how we're stopped and identified, the way how it's like we were suspicious of you doing the. To be honest with you, I've been going the last couple of nights that I've been going to work. There's been like, I don't know if it's the same guy because I don't know the license plate or whatnot, but there's been a police cop around the Circle K in my area, and he's been kind of. Yesterday he left out the gas station and I pulled in, and I work at night, so it's like I'm like the only person. It's like, so he pulls in and there's a couple other cars, and he goes across the street, and I go into the gas station. I come out. When I come out to go get in my car with my coffee and my cigarettes in my hand, he flies out of the other parking lot and just leaves. Scared the crap out of me, because especially with this political environment that's been going on, I was just like, why did he just do that? It scared me. So I'm saying all that to say this, like there's a difference in this country, and two things that's going to happen is inflation and people coming out the woodworks being super freaking racist and psychotic and vengeful when we come up. There are people that want us in this institution for a reason. Like, so, okay, I'll give you an example. You hear people say all the time, oh, it's so sad what happens in America. It's so sad. But then you'll hear, I told you, I've been like really deep spiritually lately. So not in terms of magic religion, but just listening to people's conversations, paying attention to their body language, almost being like a sensor. My spidey senses are tingling. And a lot of times I'll hear African Americans, I'll hear everybody say, this country is like that. It's never going to change. It'll always be this way. And so I think to myself, how are people so programmed that they can say something detrimental like that, say that something will never change and they'll be like this forever, and just be like, keep going about their day? Like, that's trauma. Like, I notice when Caucasians come out and speak against racism, their community destroys them. It's no like how we like, oh, we're covered by all these left-wing networks and other black people that report these things in the fire. When they get left behind in their communities, there's all type of white people that come out and speak, and Latinos and different people and Asians. And their old community attacks them. I promise you they do. It makes fun of them and disowns them. One common thing, if you guys don't think racism is real, I've heard plenty of times that, I've heard white men say their daughters aren't allowed to date black men. Their daughters aren't allowed to be with us. One other thing, I don't care who gets mad at me saying this, I'm seeing a situation where like black people are attacking themselves. They're imploding on themselves. I'll hear a lot of African American women saying, oh, them white men mixing in with the colonized, them white men, or them black men mixing with them swirls, them Beckys, them this and that. Like, you sound like white men when you say that. It's like white men and black women are giving me the same problem. And it's like crazy. Nobody's like awake to see this. It's like everybody's asleep. It's like everybody thinks they're on a different side, but you're all human. You're all doing the same thing. I'll go to defend white people and black people will ridicule me. I go to defend black people and white people will be like, well, it's because you're black. They're your people. It's like, you can't win. It's like literal hell. So what do I suggest in terms of reparations? Hear me out. There was this Indian man. I don't know if he was Hindu Indian or Indian American as a Native American, but all different types. Japanese were given reparations. Hispanics were given reparations. Native Americans were given. I know Native American people that get like $2,000, $3,000 a month. They keep saying the government doesn't pay them, but anyways, I'm not going to get into that. So we were sending Israel. We've sent them over $130 billion. Actually, a lot more than that. It's ridiculous. The Christian cause, the evangelists and all them are sending billions of dollars to Israel. I don't even know how that. The next person that tells me something about the Bible is full of slavery, racism, and hatred. And even in that book that says to be nice to your slaves, that was totally ignored by every culture on the planet. I can honestly see people sitting in cults and meetings talking about the Bible says, the Old Testament says, the Lord says don't mix with them heathen people. The Lord says be nice to your slaves. The Lord said, y'all are using a book to live like morons. If y'all use that book for peace and happiness and whatever, okay, but that's not the current state of the world. So outside of that, all the money, it's been over $300 billion that we've sent to certain countries in terms of war, especially with Iraq and all that other stuff. Why are y'all investing in all that when y'all could be building? It doesn't even, the man made a good point, the Indian American man. He said Dubai built a city with 60 billion and it's a beautiful city. You talking $300, $400, $500 billion sent in the name of wars and stuff. And a lot of these start by Republicans. The Bush administration started the Afghanistan war and the oil and all that. So then you hear all these people, all these Republicans talking about Obama starting wars. It's like rhetoric. You guys are being lied to. Like the type of person I am, I'll give you an example. I'm the type of person that gets into something and I don't care about color, none of that. I go for the information, the knowledge I can put in my brain to analyze the information. This dude, Ed Sheeran and Pharrell Williams, both sampled a song from Marvin Gaye. Pharrell Williams lost his lawsuit. He was plagiarizing. But Ed Sheeran was in the middle of a lawsuit. Not only was he in the middle of a lawsuit, he made the statement he'll stop making music if he's found guilty. So I listened to the song. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Let's get it on. Mm-mm. It's the same bass line. You can literally sing Let's Get It On to that song from Ed Sheeran. But I'm not even finna get into all that. When you look at the comments, this is what I do. I search and understand and study humans. Everyone, I don't care what color, race, or anything you are. I understand and study because I don't want to be a moron. I gather information and I analyze. And what the comments say, first of all, people don't even know the true story behind that. The Gay family has nothing to do with the lawsuit. It's the writer's daughter. All the comments saying they don't know nothing about their finances or how big they actually are, or anything, because that's a huge family name. These people are desperate. These people are desperate for money. These people need to stop breaking the law. These people just comments after comments. So then I'll go to somewhere else. I just read comments and understand I try to understand people and understand in real life because you have real life and you have the internet. But the difference between the dark web and the internet and real life is that the dark web is kind of like a secret. You're like, nobody can see me, or I can say these things and I won't have repercussions. And the stuff I see between, okay, I'll give you an example a while back. And why I say it's not, like racism is so deep that people just don't. So I'll give you an example. First example, then back to the police. I will watch stories of people dealing with pets and animals. And when it would be lighter skinned people or Caucasian dealing with pets, every time, hearts, beautiful, heart eyes, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Everything's lovely. The comments were, I go to videos where a black owner with a pet would be like, don't do that, or like talk to the animal. Same thing. I see videos of people torturing animals for entertainment, especially Caucasians just making cats flip and doing sad. We found you on the road videos. The cat's still clean. You didn't find that cat on the side of the road. Quit playing, doing these fake rescue videos, torturing animals. I seen a black owner yelling at his dog for tearing the garbage up, and every comment, negative, negative, negative. You shouldn't own animals. Negative. You're bad. You're bad. You're bad. And I'm looking. I'm like, are humans not seeing the? It's the color. Y'all are like, so away from that, because people will tell me that I'm lying. So I don't seek to argue with people. When I debate with people, I'll say something plainly. And if you don't comprehend or understand what I say, I just leave it alone. That's why I don't even debate with people. It's called opinion. So I have mine, you have yours. Have fun. Audit videos and police videos. I've been watching a lot of audits. Caucasians. You pig, you dirty cop. All type of hand gestures. I saw this man just recently get caught with a book bag full of weed. Caucasian man. Cop hollering at him, screaming at him. Throws the weed away and lets him go, and I handcuffs him. I'll see black people just existing, sitting on a park bench. Yeah, we have suspicion somebody called, white women crying, he's hurting me, he's hurting me. Then the cops show up and try to identify yourself. I'm gonna make a statement real quick for everybody that calls somebody a liberal in America. This is a liberated liberal country. That's a republic. So being a Democrat and a Republican doesn't logically make sense. It's a republic of a democracy. It's a liberal republic for the Commonwealth because we have, you guys keep saying socialism, socialism. We are socialism. We're a capitalism, we're a socialism, we're a dictator. America is a free country, so you have everything. It depends on the people inside of the country. So you have Nazis, you have fascists, you have democratic people, you have people that believe that they're Republican and liberals. Like, I don't understand human logic. First of all, the country was freed in 1776, so you're all liberated. You're all liberals. You have the freedom to run your mouth and do whatever you want. Okay, so I'll give you another example. There was actually two instances at capitals. The first instance at the Capitol, there was the military when it was people of color protesting. They had military guards standing outside when, and you can look this up. There was like a couple of places that were had protests, and there was military guards everywhere. You couldn't get inside. But when the people on the right went to the building, the cops were running from them. Like so, back to reparations. The problems you're gonna have with a lot of like pure just giving people like money. So if it's like 27 trillion, 24 trillion, every black person gets 300,000. This man from Duke calculated that. This African American studies professor. So you give every African American $300,000, you're gonna have the Klan like manhunting people. I'm telling you, it's just I know how evil these people are. So then you go even deeper. If you don't give anything, you're just gonna be the devils forever. Cause you are like you. This country was built on our backs. I'm not. I don't have to argue with anybody. I live here. I've experienced. I've had the guns put out on me. I'm a CNA, and that has a lot of information and knowledge. I talk like this. That they'll be afraid of me if there's an APB or something called. I've had guns put out on me twice. Once in front of my mother's house, and this was their excuse. I was in the car with my Caucasian friend. He was driving. And we were pulled in front of my neighbor's house because we were dealing with him for a second for something. We were friends. I got out the car. There was a cop sitting in front of my mom's house. I got out my friend's house and went to his car in the passenger side. The cop instantly came in front of our car, shining lights, and there was two other squad cars and an SUV had guns pointed at us. Now, I'm blind. I can't see anything. I'm not blind for real. I'm saying they had lights all in my eyes. My Caucasian friend says, don't move. They have guns put on you. So I have my hands up. I could hear them talking on a bullhorn. They said, have your friend give us your ID. They didn't want me to move. So then they looked at my ID and all that. I had scrubs on. I'm a CNA. I just got off of work. So I had scrubs on and all that. The officer is like, oh, whew, lucky you. Wrong, mistaken identity. Okay. So I'm like, I was like, so what made you think I was him? I'm wearing medical scrubs and I'm with him and that's my house, my mom's house. And she goes, well, you fit the description. When she gave me the description, she simply said, a black man. No, she didn't even say black man at first. She said there was a string of home invasions. So I'm telling you, this is how America works. APB black man or 6 foot, they give some description of black. And since we are a minority and there's not that many of us, when they do find us, they humiliate us and ridicule us and ID us until they figure out what's going on. If you object in any way, it's hindering an investigation. So, like, for anybody that doesn't know where the word police came from, it started off as slave catchers in the Carolinas. They brought property back to the slave owners. And then it became sheriff and it became police. So in terms of reparations, I honestly think if we stop giving all these hundreds of billions of dollars to different people and countries for wars and all this other stuff, then we could build cities and infrastructure for like African Americans and give us like a way, man, or give us some type of tax benefits or some type of free school. I don't understand, like something. You know what I mean? So if they could build that city in Dubai for 60 billion and we just sent Ukraine, Israel, and all the money and military that we spent in Iraq for infrastructure here, that could be close to $1 trillion right there. That could build a multitude. First of all, if y'all were that, okay, so America likes war and stuff, so this is what I don't get. Why don't y'all send the military to Chicago, break up all this violence, get the infrastructure money and pay, like, it's specifically people, you keep saying blacks shoot up blacks because you guys are sounding stupid. It has nothing to do with race. These people are living in a detrimental community with violence all around them, with nothing more than a welfare check and some Lincoln snaps, food stamps, because that's all they have. A lot of them. And the messed up part is the majority on people that are on public assistance are Caucasians. I promise you, you can look up whatever numbers I give you guys. None of them are lies. You guys have people in these terrible towns after murdering, crusading us, and enslaving us and doing all this. Y'all are hearing audios of people constantly caught in high positions, and y'all still are acting like we're lying. Police videos, audits of us being chased and destroyed. I've given you all crime statistics. We're not the criminals. We're the victims. So, I have an analogy of how black people are treated in America and what they do to us. It's like telling a black person racism isn't real or not believing in anything they're saying like that is like going up to a rape victim and calling her a slut for wearing something. All the time I hear you all do this. The blacks shoot each other up. They sag. They do this and that. Their own community. They don't build themselves up. With what? Air? We didn't have nothing when they freed us, and then they was destroying and tearing our towns apart and stealing everything. And now we're bad for wanting reparations? But all I can tell y'all is, y'all got to come together and do this righteously. We do. And that's another thing I want to talk about. This whole, when I'm starting to hear, hate everybody except blacks, hate everybody. You guys are like not paying attention. Like, I know you guys like to live in a fairyland where it's like pro-black everything and only black, 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 black. But a lot of white people changed and sacrificed themselves and went against their own families and communities to help us and Hispanics and people of all of the races. A lot of other people, of course, don't like African Americans and black people in Africa for some reason. But you know what? A lot of people do. And I'm getting sick and tired of people making fun of biracial people, people making fun of people that are in mixed race relationships. Some of the African American people in my community, because of anger, sound worse than white supremacists. Don't you see? I don't have to force you to be a supremacist. All I have to do is get you to hate the other side enough, and then you'll do it for me. So then instead of me teaching segregation, you'll want to be segregated, and then they win. So now, back in the day when black people's dreams was to be included, have their own, and be righteous, and be a part of the community, and white people's like, no, segregate, we hate you. Now, because of all the hatred, now black people are doing what what their oppressors are doing. For what? You can't build on top of hate. They killed a man 2,000 years ago, and look at the state of religion because of it, because they turned him into a man god. Look what happened to Israel because they constantly disobeyed. The most accurate scripture in the Bible. These are a stubborn people. Y'all cannot win with hate, and you have to accept allies. Anybody that's ever played World of Warcraft, it's not just orcs. There's night elf. It's not just orcs. There's blood elves. There's the undead. There's the trolls and the Tauren and all the other races, man. You guys gotta chill, bro. You can't win alone. I promise you. It's because what you're gonna do is get overpowered. 55 million blacks, 350 million whites, and then you're like, oh, hell on, let's destroy them all. Like, y'all sound like, just wake up. The point of the game is to get you all to be hate-filled and racist. But you got to be stronger than that. You got to defeat that and learn how to be righteous anyway. If I see one more person talk about the Most High and then say we're going to destroy everybody else, you Edomites, you sinners, you blah, 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 but you saying the Most High, like, you don't need out of here. So, I don't know, man. I hope we can all figure it out. Hope we can learn to grow. One of my biggest things is infrastructure, land, rights to things that we own. You know what I mean? Not being harassed by the police would be nice. Not being harassed by people for just existing would be nice. Some colleges and schools with actual education for everybody. First of all, y'all don't even know school systems are based on, property taxes and stuff like that. So then you have all these underprivileged, underpaid ghetto structure systems, which then the school system in that whole area is garbage because it doesn't have any funding or anything like that. So then you have all these people from these beautiful school systems getting educations and who are segregated against anybody who are a minority or immigrant and have no real education to the real world, but have all this information and facts that gets them jobs and stuff. Meanwhile, I have buddies that have no skills but are roofers in construction now and doing all type of stuff with no skills and barely a diploma, and they getting $100,000 a year. My option is going to Express, but then I had to go to community college, and after going to community college, get my CNA and graduating, now I'm still barely making over minimum wage. Like it's all garbage. And you know what I tell you? Another thing that needs to change how much the healthcare system costs and schooling costs. Between healthcare, which is the most important thing on the planet. I mean, healthcare anywhere else doesn't cost as much. $600 for a scan, and then y'all putting all over TV and Mayo Clinic. You might be sick. Get checked out. Get a scan. It's all a scam. But then I'll tell you something else. People of color, minorities, be careful with that whole mental illness game because, and I'm not. Listen, what I'm about to tell you. They tell people of color when we experience anxiety and panic attacks stuff, they try to send us to behavioral therapists and try to tell us that we need to be involuntary and have all this other stuff happen to us because we're behavioral problems. But I see people kicking hospitals apart, going in for drug overdoses, coming out of it acting a nut, and walking out the same hospital without nothing but a slap on the wrist. This is why I don't trust institutions. They want us on paper as a number or a statistic. And until we get rid of the real racism that exists, I don't even think reparations is going to happen because the majority of the vote is always Caucasian. They own a majority of the land. They own a majority of everything. When we talk about racism or reparations, they mock us and laugh at us. And this is another thing that I want to teach you all. If you say something intellectual and something of actual importance, and you're being mocked and ridiculed, or somebody saying something like unaware, they're like, how are they saying this? They don't believe in racism. Stop responding. Do like the Holy Spirit. Ignore them. You're wasting your precious time. They're trolling. You can't tell me all these Caucasians are saying, oh, it's so sad all the time. And yet nothing changes. It's not sad. That's their response so that they can keep living in a system that's broken. And then they won't have to be held accountable. Well, I'm not one of them, but I'm going to get the benefits. These people just choked a black homeless man on a train he didn't hit nobody. He didn't strike nobody or assault anybody. This lady in Target, she didn't hit the lady who was asking for reparations. She didn't punch the manager. She didn't raise her arms or nothing. She walked towards him and he punched her in the face. Notice a difference in stature? Yeah. Keep acting stupid. I told you all over and over and over. You all are going to be psychological case studies for people who are woke in the future and are woke. You all are going to be all over camera being racist and ridiculous, and they are going to ridicule you all, especially for saying racism is real. Other countries are doing it as you're alive. So in the future, you all are going to be the new pharaohs and the Egyptians. If you don't think this is real, that stuff happened 4,000 years ago, 3,500, 4,000 years ago. And because of writings, it's known about. And now they're digging up pharaohs to know it's the truth. Whole staff buried. Those people were evil. But people of this day and age feel like we got cameras and we're exempt from this punishment. Y'all are going to be made to be the ass if you keep living like this and acting foolish. And everybody that does come out and help us and tries to change the world, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Everybody, no matter what color you are, stay blessed. And if you woke, use your time and energy to fix the world. Because a lot of people sleep, so the people that sleep, leave them be. Don't be arguing with racist and crazy people. They like the way it is and they like to troll. Reach people that's willing to wake up.